It begins on an ordinary day in the country, around 5 p.m. dusk, where I was walking along a country road, heading home after visiting a friend, admiring the dark skies and overhanging dead trees of winter, wanting to capture the perfect photograph of this dramatic scene where angry skies meet skeletal treetops. I was interrupted when I heard a faint rustling sound in the distance, coming from the forest. I looked over to where I thought the sound came from, excited as I expected to see a fox or badger. I jumped slightly as I could make out the outline of a figure, still not moving, seemingly lurking. I stared intently and became more unnerved as it appeared more animalistic than human by way of its haunched, twisted stance. I remember straining my eyes in an attempt to make sense of its form, and could barely make out what appeared to be ragged clothes and a skinny, almost emaciated frame. I couldn't understand what it was I was seeing. Was someone playing a prank? What is it? I shouted out, "Hey, is everything okay?" Tried not to allow my voice to sound shaky. Nothing. No response. I tried again. "Hey, are you okay?" Again, nothing. I felt transfixed and found I was staring, and went against my better judgment and climbed over the fence and into the forest and started walking towards it. I was curious and in hindsight stupid. "Hey, do you need help?" Again, nothing. No response. It started to back away as fast as I moved towards it. "Hey, it's okay, mate. I live around here. Are you okay?" The shape started to sway slightly from side to side. Okay, this isn't normal. I still couldn't work out any features or align any logic to its posture, yet I felt it was facing towards me, possibly looking right at me. I've never seen anything human or animal move in this manner. I started to feel unnerved, and just had that gut instinct that something wasn't right about this, and the curiosity in me just wanted to know what it was. I quickened my pace, and had my camera ready to snap a photo, and found I was jogging after it, going deeper into the forest, which was getting darker the farther I went. But to no avail. It was too fast and just disappeared amongst the trees. I stopped jogging, hunched over, supporting myself with my hand on my knee and gripping my camera with the other, breathing heavily, my lungs aching in an attempt to keep up with the cold air, which seemed to be much thinner than I expected it to be. I have slight asthma, nothing bad, but it kicks up once in a while, so I took my asthma spray. I looked up and started to snap away. Maybe I just couldn't see it, but the film may show it up somehow. The flash from the camera illuminating the forest in quick succession. I stood for a while, straining my eyes and ears in that dark, mossy floored forest, and heard nothing, saw nothing. What the hell am I doing, running around in this forest, in the dark, after someone or something I have no idea about? I made my way back down to the road, contemplating what the hell did I just see, and couldn't shake the feeling every step of my walk home that was following me. But I saw nothing. I was paranoid. What I know is, it wasn't human or animal. But what was it? The first action when I arrived home, after locking all the doors and windows, was to start processing my camera film. Now I'm old school. I use an old SLR camera. I can't buy digital cameras. Now, for those who don't know the process, it is more involved than just downloading via a USB. It involves various chemicals, agitating, and a lot of patience. I won't go into all the jargon, so let's just say I get the film to the negative stage and hang it up to dry. Whilst waiting, I double check my doors and windows again. I'm feeling rather paranoid and still feeling uneasy at this point. I just don't know what I'd just seen. Maybe my imagination is on overdrive. I've been in the city studying for a couple of years now, and the quiet of the country just needs to become familiar again. Possibly. All I know is I've never seen anything like this all the years I've lived here. I decide to heat up my supper, put some logs on the fire to heat up the place, flick on the TV and try to chill out. My parents will be back in a few hours, and I'm sure they will get a giggle out of my story from my over-dramatic imagination. And my brother will be returning from his uni in a few days, something to make him laugh. After my supper and throwing the dishes into the dishwasher, I lounged on the sofa in front of the fire and flicked through the channels and started to watch some crappy 90s movie. I woke up panicked. I must have fallen asleep. What the hell was that noise? I noticed a blanket over me. My parents must be home and threw it on me. The TV is turned off. The fire was just embers glowing slightly. I scanned the room. Nothing looked out of place. There were no lights coming from under any doors. My parents must have gone upstairs to bed. I went to the window to open the curtains and was surprised to find it was still dark. In fact, it was a moonless night, which isn't that uncommon. Now, for those who live in the city or suburbs, there isn't any streetlights here, so we don't get that orange glow highlighting the surrounding area. When you look out the window, especially on a moonless night, it's just complete blackness, nothing. You can't see in front of your nose. So I looked at my watch, 3 o'clock. Earlier than I thought, hours until dawn, and I'm wide awake. I stood there, listening intently. No noise, eerily quiet. Maybe the thumping was my parents going upstairs or closing their doors. I decided to head into the dark room, which is in fact an extension my father added when he took up photography as one of his many hobbies. I thought I might as well print up the negatives onto a contact sheet. I started studying the contact sheet with my magnifying loupe to see how well my photographs turned out. The first few photographs of the skyline, trees, and lanes turned out pretty nice. I have a few that I can add to my current university assignment. Now we get to the photographs of what was in the forest. I brace myself, expecting to see something unimaginable. In fact, I was hoping I captured something brilliant, just so I didn't think I was going completely crazy. On first inspection I was extremely disappointed, however, as nothing looked out of place. Just trees, a forest at dusk, that was it. Now negatives are very small, even when being viewed using a magnifying loupe, so I decided to enlarge them and print them out onto a larger size paper. The first photograph was just the forest, nothing out of place, no creepy figure lurking. What did I expect? The next 4 photographs showed nothing either. Then the 6th photograph, I could just about make out a black mask-type figure, seemingly peeking out behind a tree. I couldn't believe it. I felt sick and in a complete panic. The next photograph showed the same figure, slightly closer behind a different tree. I skipped to the last photograph, and sure enough, there was that black mass about 2 feet away. My heart was thumping out of my chest. I couldn't believe it. I kept studying the photographs one by one, trying to work out what it was. Was it a shadow? Camera movement? There were no discernible features, no eyes, no light from where the eyes would be. Just a black void, a mass, a crooked, twisted, shadowy shape. It looked sinister, creepy. I contemplated waking my parents and showing them the photographs, but I knew they'd been at the pub that evening and probably wouldn't take kindly to me waking them up at this time in the morning. What would I even say? They'd probably not even want to see the photographs, as they'd be too annoyed about being woken up for such a stupid hour. I decided to wait until morning and sat on the sofa in front of the TV, paranoid and jumping at the slightest sound, until daybreak. Morning came and I was sitting with my mum having breakfast, and told her I took some interesting photos yesterday evening, and jested, "It's possible I've captured the beast of them all," trying to downplay my anxiety. She had a smile on her face and said, "You're just not used to being back in the country, city boy." I told her I printed them up. "Well, go get them. Let's see this creature you snapped. Looks like my son is going to be famous." When I got back, my dad was also having his breakfast, so I showed them the photographs chronologically, and on photograph number 6, my father started going pale. By the time he came to the last photograph, he looked like death warmed up. My mother started to look concerned now and was asking, "What's wrong? Let me see." He passed over the last photograph and tried to say something. He was mumbling and tripping over his words, shaking. All of a sudden he got up and made his way out of the room. We didn't know what to make of it. I'd not seen him like this before. My mother also looked concerned, but not because of the photograph, more so because of my dad's reaction. My dad returned with an old cardboard box and began frantically taking items out of it, spreading them over the breakfast table until he came to an old-looking leather folder, really worn, with string tied around it. He took in a breath, looking at us, and untied the string. Inside were contact sheets and photographs. He passed a few over to me, and my mother was close behind me, viewing them over my shoulder. I was surprised, as they looked identical to the area and photographs that I had taken. Even a very similar succession of photographs showing something getting closer and closer. I was stunned and gobsmacked and just just stared at him. I had goosebumps and felt sick. My mum asks in a worried voice, "When did you take these? They are just creepy. Why haven't I seen these before, and what is it?" She threw them down on the table and looked at my dad accusingly. My dad replied, "I didn't want to worry you. They were taken so long ago, before we got married. As to when, the date on the folder was exactly 25 years ago to the day. As to what it is, I have no idea, but I called it the creeper. As from the day I took these photographs, it followed me for 3 days, and from that day 3 people went missing from this area and have never been found."